Plato believed that education is very essential for the ideal state. Ideal state. Education is very essential for ideal state. Of course, very with common sense also we can understand, if the people are not educated, then obviously ideal state cannot be achieved. We already, so far we knew that Plato given much emphasis to education, especially related to king. That is the reason he always described king as a philosopher king. Phil, love, Sophy, knowledge. A king must be having love towards the knowledge. That means he must be learned person. But of course, unfortunately, now we are not having that, because now for MLA qualification, MP qualification, we do not have any qualifications. Yes or no? Tell me any post in the Indian Constitution which require the education qualification. Any post in the, according to the Indian Constitution, which require the education qualification. Justice, Supreme Court and High Court judges, and what? CAG, CAG, Election Commission, Finance Commission. Very good. Constitutional bodies in general, they require. Of course, not for like National Commission for SC, National Commission for ST. Again, you cannot include that. The only requirement for this, you should belong to that community. Except that, okay. Regarding the BC, it is in news now. Justice Rohini Commission given the report regarding the subcategorization of BC, OBC. So, what about your take? So, what is your opinion? Do we require that subcategorization or not? If yes, why? If no, why not? So, in OBC, selective benefit is going on. It's all about? Okay, and out of OBC reservation, 97% of the jobs in OBC. You know that in India, OBC, you can call it as central level jobs. In state level, we have the BC, A, B, C, D. Okay, and S. So, in state level, we have the categorization. Don't assume that in the central level also we have the categorization, not there. Very lately, people will know that. Generally, we think that central also the same, but is a difference. According to this Justice Rohini Commission report, out of the 100 jobs which are given to BCs, OBCs, 97 jobs are taken up by only 10 castes. 10 castes in India, they are getting around 97% of the jobs. Total communities in BC around 2000. Yeah, 28. Then you can understand rest of the communities how less they are represented. That is the idea. It depends on the population, it depends on the backwardness. Like you say, it depends on the economic status. Of course, economic status and backwardness also reflect the education. Okay. So, of course, there was a demand on the subcategorization of SC also.
Yeah, same thing is happening in SC also.
Yes, in scheduled caste also there used to be a lot of demand regarding the subcategorization, especially in states like Andhra Pradesh, combined Andhra Pradesh I am talking about. But now that demand got diluted, because in SC also some people got benefits, some people did not get benefits. Yeah, creamy layer also should bring in, like in creamy layer, for BCs creamy layer is there, but the creamy layer is not there for SC and ST. You know the creamy layer means up to above certain level of income, you will not have the reservation, you cannot enjoy the reservation. 8 lakhs at the moment, previously it used to be the 6 lakhs, creamy layer. Actually the concept of creamy layer in the Indira Sahni judgment, Supreme Court in the Indira Sahni judgment, it given the judgment that giving reservation to BCs are constitutionally right, but at the same time put a limitation that is about the creamy layer. Okay. So, now when we come back to this education, okay, the Plato's theory of education. So, first we have to understand what is the influence? What is the influence on Plato with respect to education? So, what was the motive behind Plato's theory of education? Okay, when you are saying something means someone must have been influenced you, or something must have been influenced you. So, what was the influence behind the Plato theory of education? There were two influences. Okay. One influence came from Sparta, the other influence came from the Athens itself. Athens itself. Already I told you these two are the Greek city states, same like in the Indus Valley civilization, Harappa, Mohenjo-daro, same like these are the two great city states. Sparta always used to win on the Athens. Okay, always used to win on the Athens. By observing this, Plato believed that, okay, strength, physical strength, army training, equality to women, these are some of the observations. These are some of the observations he got it from the Sparta. That is the reason these will be reflected, is going to be reflected, now we will read very soon, these are going to be reflected in the theory of education, because he concluded that, okay, Sparta is winning us and very frequently. Why? Because those people are very strong. Okay. For example, if I ask you why China is getting so many gold medals in Olympics? Because of the infrastructure, number one. Second, training. Yes, budget allocation. So, training. Now, if you are a philosopher in India, when you look at the China, okay, what is your understanding? Your understanding must be, okay, strength. So, you have to train how the China is training children from the school age itself. Okay. After we are done with the Plato theory of education, you will see more it resemble to the present day China, especially in terms of success in the sports. If you look at the Olympic table 20 years back, you do not find China anywhere else. Now, you will definitely find China either in the second place or third place in the Olympics. Okay. In India also, so many scholars, they are suggesting to government that in India different communities are very good in different sports. For example, so many tribal communities in India, they are very good naturally in, like archery. They are very good naturally in like running. Okay, like how the Africans are very good in the running. If you look at the Olympics, marathon race, majority of the times Ethiopians, Nigerians, okay, more especially the Ethiopians, they always win in the, why? Because the genetical structure also favorable to them. So, in India we have the diversity, we have the northeast population and we have the north, south. So, you have to pick the people like that, and if you train them, naturally we will get lot of medals. But we are having that kind of, we are not having that kind of will. There is a major issue. Why? We require more philosopher rulers, philosopher kings. Still we have to develop a lot. Okay. We have seen what happened with respect to wrestlers, women wrestlers, they protested a lot. And Brijbhushan, okay, forget about whether he done the mistake or not, it's for sake. At least if you took the initiative, if you took the action on him immediately, temporarily at least, if you keep him aside, then people get a sense of security that, okay, in future if anyone is harassing us, we can get a complaint. But if the action is also delayed, that means in future, do you really think that someone will complain again? No. It's a very unfortunate situation. Okay. Justice may not be served, but at least it seemed to be served. That is very, very important. Okay. That is what even the parents also will do. If one kid is having complaint and the another one, what the parents will say? Okay, I will to the justice and in front of that kid, so they will scold or some, like this kid, okay, that kid feels that, okay, justice has been served. Don't you think that is applicable in the national level also? Yes, that has to be there. So when he was looking at the Sparta, he observed that strength, army, equality of women, okay. So we already discussed that Plato was more favorable to the women also, feminist also, because once the woman given birth to child, that after a few months, the child will be taken care by the state. Child will be taken care by the state. So women has more time to participate in the political activities, state affairs. We discussed about that. So that kind of influence mainly from the Sparta. This is the reason, guys, I told you to watch that movie Troy. Troy is all about the fighting for one queen, princess between the Sparta and Athens. Okay, Troy movie. Next, from Athens, what he inspired? Actually, Athens is a hub of intelligent people, okay, or thinkers a lot. For example, in Telangana, if you ask, what is the capital of Telangana means? Hyderabad. And what is the capital of AP means? Sometimes you don't know. Now, Vizag, fine. And if you ask what is the educational capital of Telangana, very few you know that it's a Warangal city, because it used to be the lot of hub for intellectual scholars. That is the reason even they kept that health university in Warangal. Okay. Now, in those times, Athens used to be the education hub, because Plato is from Athens itself. So Plato inspired philosophy, logical thinking, like dialects, mathematics. Okay, all these are inspired from the Athens. Now you are going to see the next Plato theory of education methods, which are going to include both this. Don't you think nowadays we are missing this part completely in India, and we are giving much, of course, not to any of these things, but somehow MPC by PC kind of thing. Previously, children used to be given a lot of importance in the sports. Okay, don't you think every school in India must have a compulsory NCC training? Yes or no? Must have, but we are missing out. That is the reason in India, compared to 10-15 years back, nowadays the child is not developing that kind of physical strength. Morely we are addicted to the internet and everything, and that is the reason no one is using the grounds much, and that is the reason politicians, they want to encroach the grounds, and they are occupying and they are constructing buildings and all these things. Previously, most of them kids used to spend on outsides. Okay, so that is what, guys, even though few years back, few thousand years back also they proposed the theory, but still it is relevant. That is the reason if you observe that social welfare schools, social welfare hostels, I've heard about the concept, social welfare schools, Navodaya schools. Yes, there they'll try to balance out this. They'll try to promote the sports also, strength activities also, they'll promote compared to the modern day schools. The modern day also, people also, they want their kids completely towards the, either mathematics side or biology sides, irrespective of the rest of this. Actually, this Plato ideology, even inspired by some countries also, they included one concept that every youth in the country must be trained in the defense force, at least 2 years or at least 3 years. Have you heard about this concept? Yes, voluntary military, compulsory military service. UK also, Israel, even in the North Korea you cannot imagine, okay. South Korea and all these things, compulsory. Even in this UK, Prince Harry, Queen Elizabeth grandsons used to be the two, okay, Prince William and Prince Harry, they served in the Air Force also, British Air Force. okay, and that kind of thing also should bring to India. Okay, not only it helps in your physical strength, and you will get a chance to visit Jammu Kashmir and some other places also. Of course, if you are lucky enough, you will come back, otherwise it's okay. Okay, the point what I am trying to say is compulsory military service is there in some countries. What is the advantage of that?
Politically, you are ethically, socially, you are thinking about everyone.
Socially think about everyone,
No bias on religion.
no bias based on religion, region and
Religion.
sense of patriotism, country security, and you are thinking also in a broad based. When you serve at the border, okay, for country security, after come back to the normal life, you don't have that much interest to fight with your neighbors about some small wall or gate or something like, because already you have seen the world or seen life at the larger level. You understand my point? So that is these are some of the advantages. Okay. Now, what is the methodology? What was the methodology of Plato? What the Plato's education is going to be exactly? So before we going that, first we'll finish off all this introduction, then we'll discuss about the Plato's methodology. First take the heading, Plato's theory of education. Plato's theory of education. First point, according to Rousseau, Rousseau's spelling is always typical. According to Rousseau, Plato's republic is not just an essay on government, not just an essay writing, yeah? Not just an essay on government, but it is a treatise, treatise, treatise. This means very valuable. Okay, treatise, treatise, treatise on education, very valuable on education. Next, take the heading, context. There is always a connection between theory of ideal state. There is always a connection between theory of ideal state and theory of education, because education is the primary means through which we can find quality of soul. Here always remember, soul means individual and individual thinking, and don't go into that other way, soul, God, demon, not that soul. Okay. Next point, Plato theory of education. Is a logical result of theory of theory of justice. Okay. How it is related, guys? Just now we discussed about Plato theory of justice here. So what was Plato theory of justice? Plato theory of justice, it was saying about that functional specialization. Out of 3 I am writing here main true one, and allocation of work. Allocation of work. What was the third one? No excessive involvement of states. With this you will get the justice. Okay. How you will get these? You will get these through education. Okay. You will achieve these. They can be achieved. They can be achieved through education. That means education will identify who is having what specialty, and based on the specialty they will be given the responsibility. So that means without education, according to Plato, is there any possibility of achieving the justice? No. That is what you have to understand. Okay, it helps in your answer writing. So Plato's theory of justice is a result of theory of education. How Plato used to identify this, I will explain. Okay, how Plato used to identify this, I will explain. Okay. For example, in the present modern education, according to the national education policy, you know, now the problem is, if someone is complete the degree only, they will get the degree certificates. If someone drop out in the degree first year or second year, they will not get any certificates. Okay. People think like they are worthless. But in the new education policy, if you are drop out in the first year, you will get the diploma certificates. Second year, you will get some sort of certificate. Third year, you will get the final degree certificate. Have you heard about this? Tell some equation. Heard about?
One can continue after certain gap
Also. Okay, if we drop out in first year because of some situations, he will be given one kind of certificate. At least he will have some employability. Because if you don't have certificates, you don't get job. Because you don't get job, you don't get income. Because you don't get income, you don't get further certification. It's like a unemployment trap. You are getting, because of one thing, you are not getting another thing. Because you are not getting another thing, you are not getting this thing. This happens a lot. For example, I will give an example for this also. How the unemployment trap will be in rural area. Okay. Employment is seasonal employment. In particular season, you won't get employment. Okay. And because of that issue, some people will go where? They will go to migrant to urban areas. In urban areas, because in the rural areas they do not have a particular skill, in urban areas they will end up in the very less quality of life compared to the rural area. Did you observe this kind of trend? In rural area, you might have the quality of life better, but you may not have a employment all the year. But in the urban area, you might have employment all the year, but your quality of life is less. Okay. Because your quality of life is less, again your education standards are like that, and you will end up in the poverty. Okay. This is the unemployment trap. Once you are unemployed, it is very difficult to break that unemployment. There was one case study also. One guy was removed from the company. Okay. Layoff, IT layoff kind of thing. It was happening so many companies also. So he was unable to get the job immediately. Then what happened after few days or after few months, when he was trying for the job, by that time some advanced technology required, skill required, he did not have that kind of skill. Because he was not having the skill, he was unemployed for few more months. Because he was unemployed for long, he did not get job again. Because you are unemployed for so long, no one wanted you. Because you did not get job for so long, you did not have the money to spend on training yourself. See how life will go on. Because of that, he is not getting job, and because he is not getting the job, his quality of searching for job, his quality of updating the CV, his moral will affect. Meanwhile, if you have any bad friends, he will be deviated from searching for the job. So all how delicate the decisions will be in life. Are you understanding? So in the same way, so Plato is saying that education plays very, very important role, and this theory of education is closely related to the theory of justice. That is what I am trying to say, how it is related. Actually, Plato's theory of justice is very different from the Indian theory of justice. See how in Plato's theory of justice, Plato theory of justice is giving more importance to functional specialization. Functional specialization. That means in Plato theory of social justice, you are giving much priority to merit. Based on merit, you may become the philosopher king, or you may become the guardian, or you may become the producer based on the merit. Okay? Same like if you are very successful in the degree, you will be graduate. Otherwise, if you have less merit, you will be end up in a polytechnic, like that. That is fair. Whereas this Indian social justice, this is a Plato way of social justice, or social order, you can call it as social order according to Plato. Social order according to Plato. What about the Indian social order? Indian social order is all about based on the Varna system. Indian social order. Okay. That means irrespective of the merit, you must confine to particular caste. Because of this only, we brought this kind of reservations. But of course, we have seen lot of some downside of the reservation also, because some families are keep on enjoying the reservation, and the other families in the same community, they are unable to enjoy the fruits of the reservations because of various factors. That is the reason the demand for reservation is increasing. In fact, actually it would have been decreased here for reservation, but increasing because of these various drawbacks.